Just an incredibly close race here. Tammy Baldwin telling me this is the battleground state in the country. She said that her race is a 50-50 race. Presidential race here, 50-50, which she appeared with a few folks running for Congress yesterday, said the same thing about their races. So everything is incredibly tight here, and she acknowledged that. And all the while, you have these two national campaigns acknowledging how incredibly important this is going to be in the presidential race. Donald Trump is going to be here in Green Bay tonight. Kamala Harris is traveling to Wisconsin this afternoon. She's going to appear at a rally with Mumford & Sons in Madison, Wisconsin, a little later tonight as well. So it's a state that's attracting, as you say, a lot of money, a lot of donations from outside the state, a lot of attention. And all the while, folks like Tammy Baldwin, incumbents like Tammy Baldwin, are kind of fighting for their seats in a way that they haven't had to in the past. She's been elected to the Senate twice, and in both of those races, it wasn't a landslide, but she won by a fairly comfortable margin. Safe to say, Tim and Katie, it's not going to be that way for her this time around. And as I went on the campaign trail with her yesterday, tagging along as she took this bus tour, this multi-day bus tour across the state, her message to those who had gathered to see her, volunteers for her campaign, Democrats, union members, was, every vote matters here. This is going to be decided precinct by precinct, and if they're able to convert one voter, two voters to voting Democrat in this race, it could have a huge impact on the outcome on November the 5th.
And talk us through some of the hot topics when it comes, of course, to Wisconsin specifically. Of course, she was trying to draw a differentiation between her and her opponent when it comes to taxes, when it comes to health care, for example.
Yeah, let's tick through a few of those. So Tammy Baldwin is really embracing the role that she played in writing the Affordable Care Act. She was in the House then, but she put into that law the provision that allows folks' kids who are up to the age of 26 to stay on their parents' health care. She's mentioning that everywhere she goes. The contrast she's drawing is that Eric Hovde, who's running against her, a businessman, wants to kind of rewrite the Affordable Care Act, really sort of rethink the way that the government's role that the government has in health care. That's one. And we talked about manufacturing, talked about the economy when I sat down with her this morning. Obviously, inflation is front of mind for many voters, and it's something that I asked her about when she and I talked on her bus before she continued on that bus tour today. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
It is certainly top of mind for voters who haven't seen any relief from the inflationary prices that were caused by the pandemic and the screwed up supply chains. You know, those supply chains have been addressed, but the corporations haven't lowered the prices on the products that we have to buy at the grocery store every week. Or, you know, while inflation has gone up over 3 years by 14%, corporate profits at that same time have gone up 75%. My voters who are really squeezed by these prices want a cop on the beat helping them.
So, Katie, what stood out to me from what the senator said there is she's not going quite as far as Vice President Harris is and talking about the illegality of corporate price gouging, but talking about the need for regulatory enforcement agencies to do more, have more cops on the beat, as she put it. So she's trying to evince that she's aware of the fact that folks here in this state are still suffering because of high prices. I should note that her opponent really embracing the fact that folks are suffering and that an alternative could do more. His slogan, which you see on signs all over this state, is restore the American dream. So making that pitch that we've heard from former President Trump that there could be a kind of manufacturing renaissance if he and if Donald Trump were to win, that would bring back a lot of the companies that have either scaled down their footprints in this state or left it entirely.